So this is a video for polynomials for people who are trying to get ahead, get a preview of high school, like me. So what is a polynomial? Well, first we have to look at the word polynomial.
Please.
A polynomial in Greek means, we need to break it down. Poly means many in Greek, and nomial means name in Latin. And that's many name. But in mathematical terms, it's poly, many. But nomial for mathematics is terms.
Tell us
So we're going to get to terms in just a minute. But here's an example of a polynomial. 10x to the power of 7, negative 9x to the power of 2, plus 15 x to the power of 3 plus 9. It's basically, which in simpler form is 10 million minus 81 plus 3,375 plus 9. And
I'm trying my best.
Another example is 9a to the power of 2 minus 5. In simple form is 81 minus 5. But a polynomial can be anything at all. And it can be, this is the simplest example of a polynomial. 1. Yes.
Yeah, you tell us all those complicated equations.
But there is a rule of a polynomial. And you must have non-negative powers in the equation. Like, this is not a polynomial. 10x to the negative power of 7. Negative 9x to the power of 2 plus 15x to the power of 3 and plus 9. So you can't have negative powers. So
why?
It would be, so the negative power would be 10x to the power of negative 7.
So much potential.
And let's sidetrack for a second and get back to what I told you earlier. We'd get back to terms.
Finally!
Exactly are terms. Terms are a group or sum of numbers. For example, 10x to the power of 7. That's a term. So the 10x to the power of 7, negative 9x to the power of 2, plus 15x to the power of 3 plus 9, that would be, if you added 9x to the power of 0, there would be 4 terms. But 9, that would not be. But the 9 on its own is not a term, and that 1 we talked about earlier that doesn't have any terms.
A 0-term polynomial.
But the non-polynomial had a term too. So how are we going to tell the difference if we're looking at it term-wise?
I don't know.
Well, we also have another rule. First, a coefficient. That's basically the number that that the power gets assigned to. So 10x to the power of 7. 10 would be the coefficient. Coefficient. That's a word that you should know.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, and here's another thing about a coefficient. You can't have a coefficient if it has a negative power. For example, 10x to the power of negative 7. 10 is not a coefficient there. It's to the power of negative 7, which is a negative number. And going back to the polynomials, another one is 9a to the power of half minus 5. Now Now we can't do that because the power is half. You don't have half powers. It has to be a full number.
Whole.
It has to be a full number.
Full again.
Whole number integers, we're gonna call it. Or it's not an integer or a polynomial. Like 9a to the power of half. That would not be an integer or a power.
They're the same thing.
And a polynomial would be 9 with the square root symbol a.
You know it, right?
9 square root a -5 minus 5. Now we can put square roots of numbers in. That would be the 2.
2 power. Come on.
Like 9x to the power of 2. That's basically square root. Basically square rooting the number. But we have to have it to the power of 2. We can't have that logo.
We get
We
it.
can't have the symbol for the square root in a polynomial. And now it's non-polynomial 4. 9a to the power of a minus 5. That's not a polynomial either. This is our final example of polynomial.
Thank goodness.
Hang in there, son. You can't have a variable, in this case it's a, as a power, because that would just be too confusing.
Sure.
Let's just keep it there. Too confusing. But to make I know you're saying, but after hearing that, I was outraged that we have different names.
As was I.
Fortunately, they are very easy to remember. Names for one-term polynomials, two-term polynomials, and three-term polynomials. Remember what those terms were? 10x to the power of 7?
Of course I know.
So a one-term polynomial is called a monomial. For example, 3o to the power of 8, that's a monomial.
I'm trying my best.
A two-term polynomial is called a binomial. So an example is 3o to the power of 8 plus 10z to the power of 8.
What's with you and
A
8?
three-term polynomial, that's called, you guessed it, a trinomial.
I did.
Example, 3o to the power of 8 plus 10z to the power of 8 minus 5t to the power of 8.
8 all around the room.
That's an example of a trinomial. Now, when you're in high school, this is a good prep. People will ask you, what's the degree of a polynomial? Or what's the degree of a polynomial? Or what's the degree of a term? So, first we're going to look over the degree of a term, which is the power that you're raising. Like 10x to the power of 7, that would be a 7th degree term.
Now I know.
Because you're raising it to the power of 7. But what's the power of a polynomial? So
Tell me.
You're thinking that would be a lot harder, like we put in averages or add all the degrees together, but it's actually much simpler. It's just the highest degree of any of the. It's just the highest degree of the singular terms by themselves. So that's what a polynomial degree is. Then a leading term and coefficient. There's two meanings for a leading term and coefficient.
Huh?
Meaning one, the first term or coefficient, like in 10x to the power of 7, negative 9x to the power of 2 plus 15x to the power of 3 plus 9. 10x to the power of 7 would be the leading term.
He's a divine man.
Coefficient would be in that equation would be 10. Now, meaning 2, which is used more often.
It'd be simpler.
Is putting these terms in coefficient and putting the entire polynomial in writing it in standard form. Like now, I know you're asking, what is standard form? That's when you put the terms from the highest degree going down to the lowest degree. So the example that we've been using the entire video, we would put that 10x to the power of 7 plus 15x to the power of 3 negative 9x to the power of 2 plus 9x to the power of nil. That would be standard form. I hope you learned a lot about polynomials from this video. I hope you understood it too, because
I'm trying my best.
Because this is high school. This is high school. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot. Hope you understood it. And I guess all I can say is see you next time.